Hello and welcome back to Reassembly. This is episode 4 of the Helios faction. I'm your host Spirit Balanceholder and I'll be showing you this new ship and all it can do. Oh yes, it is a very curious design. I promised a spinner ship and, well, that turned out to be a bit harder than I anticipated. Uh, because of issues similar to the ones I've shown you last episode, as well as some very critical design flaws that I had to iron out. So this is my new ship. It's called the Starshine, and it has very much a reason for why it's called that. For one, we have lances here instead of normal branches, which will obviously make a very pretty light show, as you will see in a moment. We have a firm amount of R capacity, resource capacity, by the use of stomachs and a couple of leaves. We have a fast spinning ship with the use of thrusters on the outer edges. I would have tried, or I would have liked to have also some on the inside, but that turned out to be a bit too big of a hassle, and we have some objects already covering them, so it'll have to do, I'm afraid. We have the spikes and spines, which form our melee weapons, so we are again basically a buzzsaw, chewing through everything that we touch, at least provided those spikes are in conditions that they can handle that. And we have a lot of tumors. Oh yes, we have a lot of them. And if you remember the first episode, then the second as well, I believe. I'm not entirely sure if we used them in the second episode, but these tumors fire in all directions torpedoes, random directions. They are quite powerful. Do 100 damage per torpedo and have a small radius, and radius as well is a very powerful trait of rockets, torpedoes, and missiles. So we'll be seeing this ship in action. We have. I also wanted to mention that we have a ring that is made of branches of just normal matter, as basically our protection to our core. I'm not entirely sure if it'll be worth the effort I put into that, but I figured we might as well try and protect our inner core as best as we can. So, to show off what this baby can do. Again, a bit of smoke, but that's alright. So, we are a spinner ship. We have our melee weapon. We have a melee weapons constantly spinning, which, if you look at this asteroid, will mean that we chew through it very easily. We have our... Oh, I should remap those, I think. No, they are already correctly mapped. I have the lasers, which very much gives this ship its name, the Starshine. And not only that, but now come the tumors, and this is chaos. Oh yes. That is a massive barrage that is very hard to evade. We basically are an entire colony of spiky plants all by ourselves. And I actually have tried to do a recording a few times over, and I got horribly massacred with an earlier design of the ship against an agent, which really wasn't much of a challenge with this ship. So I reckon this one is definitely one of the better designs I've made so far in this game. So I'm sure you all are very eager to see what this ship can do, because it is chaotic in nature. It is not something that you can just control really. Sure, we have those lasers which do a little bit of damage, which mostly serve as a rocket defense, I guess. And being overall just very pretty. But the rockets, the torpedoes, is where the real meat is. That is where we really get our damage from. That is what is supposed to be killing everything we come across. So here we have some bees. And you could know, well, you may not know, but you will see that bees are quite sturdy. And I'm very curious to see. Ooh. Oh yes. It seems that our ship indeed is very, very capable the way it currently is. It chews through the defenses and the buildings a lot faster than I initially expected, knowing the bees being quite sturdy. They do have shields, that faction, but they aren't made to be excessively used with shields. So they also are a bit sturdier than the other factions would otherwise be. I wonder if we can actually chew through them in melee mode as well. That, of course, would be the most pleasant. Oh yes. Oh dear. And if we get stuck or stumped, we can just fire those those missiles and everything will go to hell. We have lost one of our spikes, and that is actually quite troublesome. It may seem very insignificant, but if you don't have all your spikes present, it does put a significant risk on your probability of causing proper damage with your melee weapons, because basically there's a fair chance that you will simply spin and strike an object, and in reality you will be hitting with the blunt side of something that might not even be a melee weapon. So that can be quite troublesome. Definitely something to keep in mind with designing. It is also one of the reasons why I actually have those hook shapes. Initially I built my ship without the hook shapes, without the spikes here on the spines as well. And that basically completely made the ship unusable as a melee ship, because it simply didn't have enough surface. It was very much inclined to simply collide with the tumors rather than with the spikes and the melee weapons. So that basically ended up with being quite an annoyance. It definitely wasn't enough. But with the use of these hook shapes with the additional spikes, it is very much serviceable. It is very much doable. And of course we know how much fun they can be when you actually are permitted to get that close, when you're actually able to come in and try and have a shot at something with a proper melee move. As always, it will be a bit of a dice roll, but when it works out, there are few things as satisfying as that in reassembly. Though I must say, I do very much like these rockets, these missiles. I have made a similar ship, as I believe I've already mentioned, that uses a similar style of fighting, and that one was vastly superior to quite a couple of other designs. For example, most of my Tinkerel ships would fall in moments to this design, because its range is gigantic, its damage is proper. The amount of hit ratio is, despite being so chaotic, quite high still. It really isn't, there isn't much you can do against this thing. There isn't much you can do against this thing. The best you can do, I have noticed, is to really have just a ship that is almost completely made out of lasers, and have a ship like that just tank straight through all the shots. Because they can actually manage it. But if you don't have a proper amount of laser protection or a proper shielding and stuff, this thing will chew through you in moments, despite being perhaps at a range where you would expect, oh, it's not going to do much. I mean, look at this. Even the small ships are getting hit. Even those tiny little ships are getting bombarded. And one of these rockets from Arcturus is enough to cause severe damage, if not outright destroy them. It must be said though that because if we constantly fire, that does also slow down the game a tad bit, as you would expect. But also it will slow down our ship itself at the rotation speed very much. And that very much means that the melee weapon and the rockets aren't always compatible to be used at the same time, which is a bit of a disappointment. But at the same time, it would make things a bit too easy otherwise, I reckon. Oh, here's a fun one. Let's see if we can pull this off. If we can go straight through the asteroid and smash into him. Come on. Spin up, spin up, spin up. Oh dear, oh dear. Nope, we couldn't. Oh dear, it cost us big time. Oh dear, that's a disappointment. I hoped we would be able to just smash through the asteroids and smash straight into him, but I suppose we needed a bit more speed for that. That's also something to notice about the ship. It actually has a small wind-up time in case it is slowed down. So it is sometimes a good idea to simply wait a moment before making your next move. Oh dear. A fun fact about the rockets as well is because these rockets are actually solid matter, they can actually tank shots for you as well. Because of the vast amount of them, there is a fair chance that the amount of health between you and those shots fired is actually going to be enough to stop the shots themselves. And when that happens, basically, it means that your rockets are your shield at that point. Very, very much a unique approach. Even other rockets can get intercepted by ours simply because of the massive chaotic nature of them. Look at it. Shoot straight through them all. And this isn't even... This is a 3000 piece ship. It is literally... it is literally like not even half of the maximum power we can achieve. Now that doesn't of course mean that a ship with 8000 P is automatically going to be stronger than two of this ship, two of a 3000 P ship, because of design choices that have to be made, of course. But it does stand testimony to the fact that we actually, this isn't even the strongest we can get. So a little bit like how we felt with the tank crawl when approaching the 3000 and 4000 ships and such. You start to really become powerful, and that is when things start to become more and more of a playground rather than really a challenge. But of course that doesn't mean, especially when not yet at those at 8000, that there is no longer a challenge in the game to be found. Very much to be noticed, for example, is that we have been fighting mostly farmers and bees, and neither of those really have powerful weapons that are very likely to stop us. So I actually wonder a bit, like, which faction would be the hardest for us to beat now? Which faction would do the most damage to us? I think we should approach this agent, see if we can get a bit of a challenge out of him. I mean, it's no fun to just waltz around across everything and just be the big Top Gun, because we already know we can't be that with this ship. So, some of the red, also mostly easy picking. But something that should not be underestimated when using this ship is the fact that plasma cannons that are severely powerful, those will break through our lines of missiles, and those are actually able to possibly cause massive damage if we get hit by them. There you go. That's what I'm talking about. They can already cut straight through us. These ships of the Reds have proper laser defenses. I actually haven't seen them before this recording, actually, which is somewhat curious. You can see how they actually tunnel their way through all the rockets. So it might... I don't know if we can actually defeat them by... Oh, there you go. Yeah, we actually can defeat them with the rockets. There's something to, I believe I've already mentioned, but should be mentioned especially in this context. The faster you spin, the more momentum those rockets will also get the moment you release them. So to spin up a bit before actually firing them will also mean that the enemy ships have less time to respond to the incoming threat, and that can make the difference between a hit and a miss. All the advantages you can get, you should always try to take, at least until you feel truly comfortable. Oh dear, we might actually... Ah! Wait, that was an agent? That was an agent, apparently. It wasn't even marked on our map, but apparently that was an agent, and we just meleeed him to death. Not completely useless after all. But it does explain why these ships are here, why I never seen these ships before, because I must say they look very nice. They are quite powerful, considering they are a red faction ship. So it would indeed surprise me if they were native to the game, because native ships that are in the game aren't... Well, the ships of them aren't all top-notch, and these red ships are definitely a lot stronger than I'm used to from the red faction. See what I did there? Actually, was not even intentional, but yeah. Also a good game. Might actually play it sometimes, or at least might actually record it sometimes for you guys, because I very much enjoy those as well. Ow, 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 ow! Don't do that! Don't do that! I actually want to bust through those asteroids again, because that will also give us a massive advantage if it works. And I don't know why we get these lag spikes. Oh dear, there's the other fleet. There's the other fleet. I believe that's a B faction actually. Is it? Oh dear. They do have plasma cannons, so that does make things a little bit troubling. Ah! Bombarded to death. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure. Not entirely sure. They have front-mounted lasers, but they also have cannons. They have constant lasers, which are very much a signature of the Bees. Or could it... No, these aren't Helios. These aren't Helios. That would be very strange indeed. I think he might actually be able to kill us. I think he might be going to kill us. If we're unlucky. Well, either way. Oh dear, there he comes again. Oh, this one has even more lasers. The really annoying thing with those constant lasers, those permanent ones, unlike the ones we have which eventually stop firing for a moment, they are exceptionally powerful at just burrowing through everything. If they are indeed the B faction, those things will cause 1000 damage per second. That is quite severe. But of course, they are front mounted, meaning you have to aim your ship, not just the weapon itself. And it means that you have to get in close, because generally the range of those things is somewhat limited. Now I must say, the range these have seems to be a lot greater than what I'm used to from with seeing from the B faction. So I'm not entirely sure. Oh dear. And they have plasma cannons, which very much begs the question, which faction are these? Which faction are these? Oh no, these are in... No, Bees don't have those cannons, do they? I'm a little baffled here. I'm not sure. No, see, the thing here is, B factions are very much their signature weapon are those front-mounted lasers, and those are very devastating when used, even at higher levels. Even as long as you're mobile enough, those things are devastating. But I really do not believe that the B faction had plasma cannons. So either it's not the B faction and is another faction that does have front-mounted lasers and has plasma cannons, or it's the B faction and they do have plasma cannons? And I simply missed that? Or this guy has modded it somehow and actually is permitted to get his ship into my game despite me not having the same mod? And that might sound very strange for those of you that know modding but haven't modded with Reassembly yet. But that is actually plausible because I'm not entirely sure if it is permitted. I'm not entirely sure if it is actually plausible. But the information for a ship, the way they are built up, the way you design a ship, it really doesn't matter what kind of parts you use. Those are, for the most part, already described within the ship itself. So you can basically have almost any kind of ship you like composed into a ship file. Even unique weapons, even modded weapons, even items that would otherwise never be there. So I'm not entirely sure. I don't know. I really am curious which is actually the case, but yeah. For now, I really would just want to kick their asses. Oh, we got. Oh, what happened? What was that? Oh dear. I want my revenge, gosh darn it. I want to smash into you. I really don't get it. I know those thrusters can only be from a few factions, but I really just want to kick their asses, and somehow they. I really am actually somewhat surprised, considering how strong these ships are, that that the main agent, the leader, actually died so quickly. Because the way it looks right now, it should have lasted way longer, that fight. We actually just got the jump on him, bombarded him a few times, and he died. They do seem to be very vulnerable to lasers. Good thing we made that design. Actually helped us out right there. So yeah. I do wonder if there are more surprises and tricks like that out here. And I actually want to find the crystalline faction as well, or something similar to them. Sentinels, I'm not entirely confident about Sentinels. I do actually wonder, would we be able to properly clear spiky plants with this ship? I mean, we've already seen a bit of that, but not really like going way in over our head and see how it performs. This will slow down. As a friendly warning. This will slow down severely. Because now basically you have twice the amount of rockets. But we already are bombarding them, so might be that we are able to silence them before they actually cause damage to us. Though they do hit us sometimes. I hope that these lasers can actually defend us a bit from the rockets that are incoming. Well, it seems we actually can bombard them into submission. Basically, wherever we go, We start bombarding them, we cause damage to them, eventually they can't fire their rockets anymore. And we just keep shooting at them until their core is hit and destroyed. At least I think that's what's going on right now. That would mean that if we wait here for a moment, that eventually nothing will be able to hit us anymore. Huh. I do not want to see this ship being used in a fleet, really. Imagine another 5 of these ships. Oh dear. And we're already going this slow. If you have 5 more of these, it would just be... We'd be you're looking at the JPEG file instead of a game at that point. Annoying thing is, I want to activate the station. And to even get a chance at that, I need to clear the way. So despite me wanting to speed up, I have to wait, because it's not going to happen otherwise. There. One missile at the right spot at the right time. Nothing is left. Ooh. Activate the station. Come on, come on. And there we go. Now maybe we can have a slight foothold in this area. Because now there will be a ship here. Or station. No, they don't. The Helios faction doesn't have stations, it only has ships. So there will be a ship here that will patrol these areas at least. And hopefully that'll be enough to actually slowly eradicate the the spiky plants in this area. Should also do this for a moment, or can't I do that? Oh no, wait, and of course. There we go. For one of those tutorial missions. I really don't know why they put those tutorial missions up every time you start the game, but at least it prevents you from being lost if you're a new player. Oh well. I think we'll go back now. And I'll end the episode. Because it's already been almost 30 minutes. And I reckon you people have more to do than just watch my episodes for half an hour, or an hour rather, because we already spent quite a bit of time on building this as well. It does look very pretty to see those rockets all spinning around. Especially the fact there is constantly here that they turn back into the center. Some of them are really just spun around in a 180 and aim back towards the center. Or well, that's what it looks like at least. Instead of just going outwards, they then suddenly start to move in circular patterns. Very pretty indeed. So yeah, I reckon there will be no more questions about why I called this ship this way. It definitely is a shining star. Even if it is a lag-inducing one. So. Well, we have 10,000 credits. Let's see how much we'll do next time. we'll be building a 5000p ship. I might actually get a little bit more so I can unlock the Helios super weapons, with the risk that it will slow us down significantly. The game, I mean. Because the Eye of Helios is very, very, very powerful and is very, very fun to use. Unlike the Arm of Helios, really, it's somewhat surprising, but the Arm of Helios, which is a turret-based one, I personally find a little less pleasant than the Eye. But oh well. That has been it for this episode, people. This was episode 4 of the Helios faction. And next time I'll be making a new ship and you'll be seeing what we can do with 5000p in the Helios faction. I hope you all have a great day, and I've been Spirit Bouncer for you.